WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk
No,
now?
that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I ever got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
I think for far too long in this country, millions of people felt as though they weren't represented at all by the establishment media.
GB News was needed because there literally was no other voice. Everyone was saying the same thing.
GB News exists because there is a desperate need for fearless journalism that puts the people first.
GB News came on the scene as a disruptor, and it has always been a disruptor ever since.
The mainstream is all about keeping the status quo as it is, ticking along quite nicely. They don't want to ask difficult questions.
But journalism is journalism at the end of the day, and we're not here to serve any masters. Our masters are our audience.
Charlie Peters, he gave a voice to the victims of grooming gangs, and now, of course, it's led to a national inquiry.
GB News exists to make sure those concerns are put forward and people feel as though what they want to ask is put to those in power.
We don't take orders from anyone. We ask the questions our viewers and listeners want answering.
I know what's actually being discussed by my family and my friends. Us ordinary, hard-working British people have had enough. We've had enough.
They're fed up with the same old establishment nonsense. Everything that we do is opening up conversations that others are afraid to go at.
Why are you illegally bringing people into Britain?
That is our job. Our job is to get to the truth.
If it's important to you watching or listening at home, then it's important to us as well.
That's what makes us the fearless champion of Britain.
Good evening, it's Saturday night and this is the Saturday 5, the UK's biggest Saturday night TV show. I'm of course Alex Armstrong along with Will Kingston, Lizzie Cundy, Trelo and Kai Wilshaw. Tonight on the show.
Rape gang victims will never receive justice under Labor.
Listen up, Reeves, I've got the master plan.
And of course, it's Migrant Manhunt madness, isn't it? When will it end?
And Halloween has come early for Starmer. The battle for Wales has begun.
Well, it's 6 p.m. and this is the Saturday 5. Welcome to the Saturday 5, everybody. Yes, as you can see, Dr. Renee is not here this week. She's on her 15th holiday of the year, actually.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
All right, hard-working Lizzie Cundy with us. Lizzie, what have you been up to?
Gosh, well, I've had a very, very busy week, I have to say. I've been doing it all. I've got so much gossip to tell you, so you're going to have to stay tuned.
I can't wait to hear it.
You realise this is national television, by the way. It's not just us talking. So whatever you do say, thousands and thousands of people will hear it.
Kai, you must be slightly happy about the election result, but also slightly sad about the Caerphilly by-election the other day.
Yes, well, I'll be talking about it, but as a proud Welshman, I'm not that surprised to see that Plaid eked out a victory, to be honest with you.
OK, well, there we go. Loads coming up on the show tonight. And, of course, as you know, I love getting your comments in on this show. Please send them in to us, gbnews.com/your say. And while you're there, Ask the 5. We do this every week at 8 o'clock. You can ask us anything you like. So send them in, put Ask the 5 in your comments so we know what to look for, and nothing's off limits, as it never is. And vote in our poll, because today we are asking this. Is it anti-British to ban the burqa? That's after a Labour MP, of course, slammed Robert Jenrick after he suggested he would back a ban. And the other question, is it time to abandon the be kind culture? That's after nurses who had a problem with trans colleagues accessing the changing room were put through kindness training. And 3, should Prince Andrew leave Royal Lodge? Yes, the pressure is mounting on the Prince, isn't it? But listen, before we start getting at each other's throats, here's your Saturday Night News with Aaron Armstrong.
Good evening to you. 2 minutes past 6 here in the GB newsroom. Our headlines. The Metropolitan Police is urging a migrant sex offender to turn himself in, having been mistakenly released from prison on Friday. Hadush Kabat, who boarded a train from Chelmsford to Stratford yesterday afternoon, he's now at large in London. He was freed weeks after being convicted of the assault of a woman and a 14-year-old girl while living at the Bell Hotel in Epping, which sparked nationwide protests. The Prime Minister says his accidental release is totally unacceptable. Met Police Commander James Conway says his force is pursuing all lines of inquiry.
He has since made a number of train journeys across the London area. We believe he has access to funds, and critically, in both Chelmsford and London, we believe he has sought assistance from members of the public and has spoken to station staff. If you've had any direct contact with him or are currently providing him with assistance, we are very keen to hear from you.
Lucy Powell says it's a huge privilege to be elected as the deputy leader of the Labour Party. Speaker, who was sacked in Sir Keir Starmer's reshuffle last month, won 54% of the 161,000 votes cast by members, beating the Education Secretary Bridget Phillipson. She replaces Angela Rayner, who stepped down over her tax affairs last month, and says Labour must get its message back.
We have to offer hope, to offer the big change the country's crying out for. We must give a stronger sense of our purpose, whose side we're on, and of our Labour values and beliefs. That's what I've heard loudly and clearly around the country these last few weeks. As deputy, my job will be to bring those voices to the heart of our party.
4 counter-protesters have been arrested during a UK Independence Party protest in central London. The UKIP supporters have been marching through the city towards Marble Arch. Police blocked their planned rally in Whitechapel. They held a banner reading "Islamist invaders not welcome in Britain" and chanted "Send them back" amid a heavy police presence. 4 people taking part in a counter-demonstration organised by Stand Up to Racism were detained for being in breach of conditions along the route and for refusing to leave. Donald Trump says he'd like to meet the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un on his upcoming tour of Asia. The US president will visit Japan, Malaysia and South Korea for talks with a number of world leaders, including China's Xi Jinping. He's likely to face challenging trade negotiations following the imposition of sweeping tariffs earlier this year. In 2019, Trump became the first sitting US president to set foot in North Korea when he crossed the demilitarized zone for a meeting with a man he previously referred to as Little Rocket Guy. But he says contacting North Korea's secluded society is challenging.
Last time I met you, and I put it out over the internet that I'm coming to South Korea. If he'd like to meet, I'm open to it, certainly. We had a very... Yeah, I'd do it. And if you want to put out the word, I'm open to it. You know, they don't have a lot of telephone service. They have a lot of nuclear weapons, but not a lot of telephone service. So I'm open to it. I had a great relationship with him. And he probably knows I'm coming, right?
More than £250,000 of illegal weight loss drugs have been seized from a warehouse in Northampton. Tens of thousands of empty injector pens, raw chemical ingredients and a large amount of cash were found during a 2-day raid. The Health Secretary, Wes Streeting, has described the setup as shameless and dangerous and has warned people not to buy weight loss injections from unregulated sources. And the Irish Prime Minister, Micheál Martins, congratulated Catherine Connolly on a very comprehensive election victory, adding it's clear she'll be the next President of Ireland. Votes are still being counted, but polls suggest the left-wing independent candidate will win by a landslide against the governing Fine Gael party's nomination, Heather Humphreys, who's already conceded defeat. And many voters, though, appear to have used the election to voice frustrations over a number of issues, including immigration, with an unprecedented number of spoiled ballots reported. Ms Connolly, who will replace Michael D. Higgins, she'll replace Michael D. Higgins. He's largely held that ceremonial role since 2011. Those are your headlines. I'll have more coming up for you just after 7 o'clock.
Oh, welcome back to the Saturday 5, of course. Over the next 3 hours, you're going to hear the biggest debates, the hottest topics, and of course, we will bring you entertaining interviews. And we're going to crack on with tonight's first debate because something is going on, isn't it? And to be quite honest with you, I am a little bit sick to death of it all. A nasty Ethiopian paedophile and sexual predator, Hadush Kabatu, is now at large in London. It is utterly astounding to me that one of the most well-known faces and names who's been on the front page of every major newspaper and media outlets has been accidentally released. I can't imagine the trauma and fear this will be striking into the poor child he sexually abused. The fact of the matter is that this sicko should never have been allowed to touch down in Britain in the first place. He should have been on the boat, the first train, the first plane out of this country alongside hundreds of thousands of others we should have been deporting from day one. That's the truth, isn't it? And now we have women across the capital who will undoubtedly be looking over their shoulders tonight. That's all while this monster is roaming free around our capital city. Well, an eyewitness has said he saw prison staff repeatedly turn Hadush Kabatu away and direct him to Chelmsford railway station when he tried to re-enter the prison. It is insane, this story, and I think it speaks volumes about broken Britain and this government. And I'll start on this government with our panellist here, Kai Wilshaw. This is one of the most embarrassing things that the new Secretary of Justice, David Lammy, is going to have to deal with. How on earth have we got to a position where not only are these people not being deported straight away because the Labour government is unwilling to do so, but now he's on the loose?
That's just not true. No. I agree with you on one thing here, actually, and I've been saying it for months and months, so has the Labour Party. Britain and the state of our state capacity is broken. You look at the prison population of 87,000 or so on. We already know that this year, or the year up to March, 262 people have been released in error. That's gone up 182%, right? That is nuts. I totally agree with you. How have we got to a position where we can't keep track of criminals who are in our prison system? The answer, though, is not promising easy solutions, and I think that's what the likes of Reform like to do, and now, of course, the Conservatives pot-shotting from the sidelines, when actually we know that they had the same problems and they didn't solve those problems either, because this increase happened under their watch.
Why don't you deport 10,000 foreign criminals that are currently in the prisons? That's an easy enough solution.
And that's what the Lib Party has agreed to do. But it's not. Turns out it's not as easy. In fact, as Donald Trump found out, it's not as easy.
They need to invent air travel first before they can start deporting these people. We have the methods to deport them. They should not be in our prisons. Any reasonable British person is going to say, why on earth are we hosting foreign criminals at taxpayers' expense when Rachel Reeves is going to start taxing us more? We're paying for their accommodation in this country. They should just be sent back to face justice in their own countries.
But the government agrees.
Problem is, when we try to deport them, what happens, Kai?
Lawyers get in the way. Yeah, but the government, the government will agree with all that you've just said.
They do something.
They want to. They have been deporting more criminals than the Tory government did before them, but they want to go further. They know that. And the new Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood,
how many illegal migrants have been deported, Kai?
You tell me. Do you have the figure?
41.
That is not the case.
Of the French deal, 41 have...
Of the French deal? You're not talking about the tens of thousands. Alex, you're not talking about the tens of thousands of people who have been deported on other deals, have you?
No, but
so your figure is wildly out of whack.
The thousands you're quoting are mostly voluntary people who have come here on visas. They're not illegal migrants, OK?
And yet...
What? They're not illegal migrants. It's a completely separate case, isn't it?
Look, this is in some respects a difficult conversation because there are so many cock-ups along this process that it's almost difficult to know where to focus on. But the fundamental point that Alex made is the right point, and that is that none of this would have happened if it wasn't for the policy of mass migration and open borders that has been championed by this Labor government. That is the root cause. Everything else that's come subsequently is embarrassing, but that is the root cause.
But this happens a lot, 262 times this year. And David Lammy there saying he's livid about this. What does he think the families, the victims are going through?
I think you're right.
It lays at him. They might have sacked a prison officer who made this mistake. He's human. He's made a massive error. But the buck lies with David Lammy. And there he is saying, I'm livid. I'm sorry, I'm livid. He's not got the sack.
I think you're right. I think especially when it includes children, I don't think we should have any compassion whatsoever. He himself was talking about wanting to be deported, was he not?
Yes, he was,
I think the optics now matter more than anything. It should be done as a matter of haste, is that he should be removed from the country, especially when it's a crime like that.
Or we need to find him first.
He will be found. He'll be found literally within 24 hours.
He will be.
He will be.
Lizzie, PW has written into your say, it says, hi Alex, looking forward to the show. Ari the escaped migrant. Instead of grey tracksuits, which is what he was released wearing, perhaps we should go back to the black and white stripes or the arrows marked to them so people know they're escaped prisoners. What do you make of that?
Yeah, that's a good idea, actually. It really
Simple
is a good
stuff.
idea.
He wouldn't be very... We'd find him pretty quickly, wouldn't we?
It is, but look, as a woman, you know, that goes home, you know, late at night through London, it's frightening to know that this man is on the loose and has been released. And can I just tell you the money this has cost? Not just the manning of that hotel in Epping Forest, the whole court case itself, and now the manhunt. How much this man has cost us, the British taxpayers, it's a disgrace.
I agree. No particular real insight coming here for you, ladies and gentlemen, but just stop and think about this. Now, look, I've never been arrested, knock on wood, but I would imagine when you are released from prison, you fill out some paperwork, there are several people you need to speak to, I imagine they tell you what your rights are, you go through several levels of security. How on earth has this happened? How on earth has this happened? This is like, again, I think we are underselling how absolutely insane this story is.
Remarkable.
No, true.
In the meantime, I wonder how many people who've been accidentally released from prison with social media for social media reasons. I have a feeling that it's probably zero.
Very good. Because it's not
it clearly is a clerical error, but at the end of the day, it is a clerical error that shouldn't happen. And this is the government that you want to trust digital ID with. Yes. Are you joking?
Whether or not the nature of the crime is material, Alex, the main point is it does show the optics that they don't really care about this issue.
Totally agree. And the first order of any government is to look after and care for his people, and we're not being.
Yeah. Well, anyway, on that note, let's see. We'll keep you updated. If anything happens breaking on that story, we'll, of course, tell you here first on GB News, so please stay tuned. In the meantime, though, time is ticking, and not just on Harish Kabati, but on your chance to win the biggest prize of the year at our current Great British Giveaway. What about that as a good? How good. There's just 1 week left to get your entry, and you could drive away with a brand new motorhome and 30k in tax-free cash. Here's all the details.
It's the final week to see how you can become our biggest winner this year with a prize worth over £104,000. First, you could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primera motorhome. Worth over £74,000, this luxury vehicle comfortably sleeps 4, has its own fitted kitchen and bathroom areas, and comes complete with fitted awning and bicycle rack. And that's not all, as we'll also give you a whopping £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. Someone is guaranteed to win our biggest prize to date, so make sure that winner could be you. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Well, good luck, everybody. Still to come tonight, Will, what have you got for us?
Yeah, this is the week, Alex, where Labor abrogated their right to be anywhere near the rape gangs inquiry. I'm going to tell you about a better way to do it after the break.
Can't wait. You're, of course, here with the Saturday 5 Live on GB News.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk now? No, that's it. This is where it matters. Real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain was once the envy of the world, but look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to the Saturday 5, everybody. We've got so much more coming up on the show. Kai's going to be celebrating, and trust me, if your blood wasn't boiling already, it will be once Kai finishes talking. But, of course, up first, we, of course, will have the great Will Kingston taking us through our next debate. Will, over to you.
Yeah, your blood won't be boiling because of Kai's incompetence. It will be boiling because of the nature of this topic, ladies and gentlemen. We have a production meeting before every show where we work out what topics that we want to talk about. And the first thing that we all universally agreed on is that we are going to discuss the sad developments in the rape gangs inquiry this week. We think that the media largely have given up on it. We think that the politicians have largely given up on it. At GB News, we are not going to stop talking about this, because to do so would be a betrayal of the victims. And quite frankly, this was the week where it became abundantly clear that Labor have betrayed the victims of the rape gangs and their families. 5 victims have pulled out so far because they've lost faith in the process. Sadiq Khan demonstrated that he has serious questions to answer about what he knew about grooming gangs in London. And we found today, broken by Charlie Peters, a typically Starmerich letter that went out to victims, which once again obfuscated around the language that needs to be used in this process by calling the perpetrators Asian as opposed to predominantly Pakistani Muslim men. The bottom line, Labor have abrogated any right to be anywhere near this process, and they need to be removed from it because they are complicit. Because they are complicit, and that will be revealed throughout the course of this process. So this is what needs to happen. Number one, the process needs to be put into the hands of an independent body. This is probably the only time where a quango is appropriate. Try and make it as bilateral as possible, and they set the terms of the inquiry, because we've heard this week that Labor are already trying to extend out the terms to take race and religion out of the equation. Number two, the chairperson needs to be someone who is not from the UK. Find a respected judge from somewhere in the Commonwealth, someone who isn't part of one of the institutions that is no doubt implicated in the rape gangs crisis, from the police to social workers to councils to the media. But perhaps the third thing, could the Labor Party please show some damn compassion to the victims of this ongoing scandal? No more letters with robotic language. Go out, speak to these people. No more defensive politicising in Parliament from people like Bridget Phillipson. Go out and actually show that you care, because you know what, at the moment, I haven't seen any evidence that this Labor Party cares about the victims of rape gangs or their families.
Well, thank you so much, Will. You almost lost me at chairperson, by the way, but we'll let you off for a Freudian slip with the title, right? Not even going to woke for a moment. But this is a serious topic. So this is a serious topic, because, Kai, this is a feeling across the country, and I don't think Will is a one-man band when he says that he feels, and many people in this country feel, that Labour is going to mark its own homework on this issue. They were in office during the peak of this crisis. They're in office now. There's many people arguing that Keir Starmer was dragged kicking and screaming on having this national inquiry, and I think the evidence is out there for people to...
And predominantly Labour-run councils is where these atrocities took place.
Exactly. Do you think they should just have complete hands-off of this process and hand it over to an independent body that can deal with this without their interference?
I don't see why not. And you know as well as I do that I was sort of shocked that the Labour Party and the Labour government didn't quite realise quick enough the strength of feeling about this issue across the country. But they got there, and frankly, Will, for you to sit there and say, I don't have any evidence that the Labour Party care about this issue, well, what we saw with the Tories was actual chaos, right? 4 different chairs, hundreds of survivors who boycotted the whole thing. The lead council resigned, right? That is chaos.
I'm not saying
and then they sat on the report. Now, what Labour is doing is an improvement. They need to go faster. They need to show progress. And maybe if they can't do that, then yes, maybe an independent body is the right thing to go forward with this. But to say they've done nothing is ridiculous.
This is very obvious. If a report comes out 6 months before the election that implicates Labor councils, it would be catastrophic for the Labor Party. It is very obvious that they've got a motive to delay.
So why have they called for a full statutory national inquiry?
But that's the thing. Nothing's happening, Kai. Nothing is happening.
Do you know what? I have to agree with Will.
Let's let Trey come in.
I have to. It's rare that I'm agreeing here with Will, but I have to agree with him 100%. It's not even a debate. I think if we can't safeguard children and young people, who are we as a nation? It's as simple as that. And Will's right. It's become far too much of a political football for anyone to be trusted. I mean anyone, whether it's the Tories, whether it's Labour, I don't really care. You're right. It needs to be a proper public forum of people who don't have any political investment, but they genuinely want justice for our children, vulnerable children. And there's no point defending it.
Look, I totally agree with everything you said. I'm very close to Maggie Oliver, who I mean, is an incredible woman, and I think should be the actual judge of this because she knows. And she was worried before this inquiry. She said, Lizzie, I'm worried they're not going to treat the victims the right way. They're not going to listen to them. And exactly what she said has happened. And shame on Labour. Shame on Labour. Jess Phillips should resign.
Lizzie?
Her meltdown in the Commons was a disgrace. It was all about her, all about emotion, and not about the
Hang on, because
shame on her.
This is the topic that we want to talk about, right? The victims have come out and say that they feel that different groups are pitting them against each other. And that's not just exclusive to the Labour government. It's not exclusive to Jess Phillips. This has been weaponised and used as a political football by lots of people who should know much better. And that includes politicians, the media.
There's a really important part of this story, because we had 5 grooming gang victims, 5 genuine victims of grooming gangs, come out and say that if Jess Phillips doesn't go, they will leave. They have left the panel. They'll only come back if she does. Then there was the Guardian article that got shared around quite a lot that said 5 grooming gang victims have said that they will only stay if Jess Phillips stays. Well, from closer inspection, the woman who is the only person who's given her name on that, and she's a victim of child sexual exploitation and abuse, which is very different to a grooming gang. So I just want to be clear about that, because we were talking about this story on GB News, and I hadn't heard the rest of the story up until that point. So even my chance to clarify about when I was talking about that a couple of days ago. And this is very important that this inquiry does not get watered down. And it must be about grooming gangs. It has to be. If it goes back into child sexual abuse and exploitation, which we just had a public inquiry on, by the way, what will be the point? That's all I'm saying. I think we need to explicitly look at grooming gangs. Any final thoughts from you, Kai?
No, I agree with that. But I think, you know, as part of this is a big opportunity, right? As well as looking at grooming gangs as part of a separate thing, let's also keep the momentum going and look at other types of CSE as well.
Just Phillips resign.
While we're with you, what have you got coming up for us?
Oh, I've got something very tasty. I hope, Rachel Reeves, you're watching. I'm going to help you out, yes? So keep tuned.
Oh, well, let's see what Lizzie's got up her sleeve. I'll see you all in just a tick.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
It's the start of half-term for many of us, but I'm afraid there's showers and some longer spells of rain in the forecast, particularly across parts of Iberia and southeastern Europe. Portugal and Spain could see some showers as we head through into Sunday. These could be heavy, possibly thundery. A mix of sunshine and showers elsewhere across northern parts of Europe, but it is going to be feeling much cooler than of late. Some brighter spells across southern parts of France, northern Europe, but elsewhere it is going to remain unsettled. More sunshine into next week, as well as some warm temperatures.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there, welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast. It's been chilly for many of us today, a cold northerly wind, and it generally stays that way tonight. And then we see cloud and rain moving in from the northwest through tomorrow. Looking at the bigger picture, low pressure sat to our east, high pressure to our west, a northerly flow bringing frequent showers to many of us. This evening we can see them pushing southwards across England and Wales, clearing skies though behind it, so it turns quite chilly across central and northern parts of the UK overnight, but blustery around the coasts with further showers. Temperatures here 4 or 5 Celsius, but are getting close to freezing in the countryside across northern England, southern Scotland, where the winds will be lightest. But it does mean a bright start, particularly across England and Wales first thing. But Scotland's seeing the cloud move in as the weather system approaches in the west. Outbreaks of patchy rain. Showers still on a brisk northerly flow down the eastern side of Scotland. Clouding over across Northern Ireland. Sunday morning, rain arriving here. Showers still for western parts of Wales and England. But central and eastern parts of England are chilly but sunny start to the day. Any frost patches soon clearing. And then slowly through the morning, we'll see the cloud and rain push its way slowly southeastwards, introducing the rain into the Midlands by lunchtime. Southeast England holding on to the sunshine for longest, but clouding over here through the afternoon and patchy rain arriving later. The wind still coming in from the northwest, so fairly chilly day. Temperatures 9 to 12 Celsius for most of us. And with the lack of sunshine, it will be fairly chilly. That pushes away as we go into Monday, and then showers follow, so a showery day on Monday. The wind's still coming in from a northwesterly direction. Further outbreaks of rain likely across western areas, but in between there will be some sunny spells trying to develop and temperatures a little higher, and it stays mixed through next week with further rain and showers at times, temperatures near average.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m.
Only on GB News.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel. Welcome back to the Saturday 5. Please get in touch with us, gbnews.com/yoursay, and get your questions in for Ask the 5. Just put it in your comment. Say, this is a question for Ask the 5, and then Kai, who's going to be taking over later, will read that out. Thank you for your messages so far. I'm going to read some of your comments out in the next part of the show, but now it's time for our next debate, and I can't wait to hear this one because Lizzie has got a plan, Lizzie, haven't you?
I've got a plan. It's a big plan. Ooh, boo-hoo, Reeves. Well, it's us that's going to be crying after this autumn budget, let me tell you. Well, it's the final throw of the dice for Reeves. I really do think so. And that's quite appropriate because she's gambling with our taxpayers' money all the time. Let's just take a look, shall we? Right, so, I mean, let's look at her inept economy policies. Another 20 billion borrowed just in September. Just in September. National debt continues to climb towards 3 trillion. And 6 months into the financial year, the UK has already borrowed around, yes, 100 billion. Oh, my word. How are you, Rachel, going to fill this ever-increasing billion black hole that you keep saying is getting bigger and bigger? It went from 20, it's 30, it's 40. What are we going to do? Because let me tell you, with all your tax increases, the wealth are leaving. Yeah, they're about 16,500 are about to leave by the end of the year. So who's going to fill this black hole? All I can think of are those that are on benefits. It's not going to work, Rachel. You really don't have a clue. And you know who I blame? It's Keir Starmer, because he had the worst judgment ever in putting you in this position. You lied, I'm sorry you did, on your CV, but I hear there's still a job going at the Halifax, and I totally recommend it. But don't worry, I'm going to wipe away the tears, because I've got the solution. The solution is for you to resign. That's right. Resign, Rachel. Do it now. And you can go to Keir Starmer. We've had enough. Our economy is on its knees. We can't be taxed anymore. You said you weren't going to tax the working people. That's all you've done, from the farmers to the pensioners who've worked all their life. National insurance hikes to the roof. Hospitality business on its knees. Enough's enough. Resign, Rachel, and do the best thing for you.
Lizzie, I like the plan, but I think there is one slight flaw, and that is, who else is there? It's not like the bench is exactly stocked with talent.
Well, I mean, we'd have to wait and see. We have got a new deputy deputy leader of the Labour Party, which we'll talk about very soon. So there might be some manoeuvrings happening in there, Kai. Do you think Rachel Reeves should go now? She's caused enough damage to the country.
No, of course not. Of course not. She's trying to root out.
Right. Keir Starmer just needs to, for a few more months, put through an income tax hike so he can chuck her under the bus after that, doesn't he?
Look, I actually think the Lucy Powell thing is quite worrying for the Labour Party, having failed to put through the welfare cuts and having to sort of modify that to make it much, much smaller than initially intended. Now it has in its deputy leader someone who actually she was fired from the cabinet for instigating some of the disquiet amongst the backbenchers. So I don't see that Rachel Reeves is going to have a lot of room for manoeuvre now, and so it is going to be tackling some of the grifters at the top of our society who are taking us for mugs. And I agree that some of the measures she took last year, I agree, they were complete misfires, right? And it tackled the wrong people. The winter fuel payment, wrong. We've accepted all of these things. But now, after a year in power, I think in this budget, what she's going to try and do, if she can get through, is tackle those people who are taking the British people for granted.
Kai, the top 0.1% of earners in this country pay the same amount of tax as the bottom 50%.
Yeah, Will, do the maths. That's because of just the sheer amount of money and wealth and lucre that these people own. And they don't even work for it. We're not talking about... No, I won't stop. We're not talking about hard-working professionals. We're not talking about the middle class. We are talking about people, as Zach Polanski rightly pointed out recently, who earn money in their sleep purely by virtue of birth. That is wrong. That is wrong. Yes, it is.
That's just one right of response. Even if that is the case, if they leave, we don't get their tax revenues. What you're basically saying is, I really hate that it's so unfair that they got money by virtue of their parents.
That's not what I'm saying.
That doesn't change economic
reality.
That's what you did say. That is just typical Labour.
It is. It's again, it sounds like the
politics.
Sorry, let's hear from a landlord now.
So what if I'm a landlord? So what if all my family's a landlord? They came over to this country, they worked hard, exactly what they're told to do. They were never on benefit, and they worked hard. Why can't they pass stuff on to their kids without paying 40% inheritance tax? Why are we not focusing on actually bringing inward investment? Will's right, it is the politics of envy. If we're supposed to be working on... By actually making this country more attractive for inward investment. Not driving like... Look, listen, the richest in this society don't have to stay. And I agree, there should be an element where we're looking at how we can have people actually, especially corporations, maybe pay their tax. There's a lot of avoidance from corporations. That is true. We can't avoid that. But don't create a climate where all the wealthy people are going because they just can. However, I do want to say something in Kai's defence. I don't think it matters who's Chancellor. I think they'll be facing the exact same issues.
They're over.
Okay.
No matter who it is.
Yeah, I listen, I think we're in dire straits. I think we're in dire straits. And whoever's...
Yeah, but I'm going to be Billy No Mate soon because everyone's leaving.
You'll have to go and live in Dubai.
We'll take you out. We'll take you out. We'll keep the politics.
Probably slightly less fancy restaurants than your other friends.
And Nando's all over spoons. All right, good stuff. All right, listen, there's a lot going on this week. Who's up next?
I'm going to be taking the mantle. Yes, I mean, this week we've had a lot going on, but this week's by-election in Caerphilly marked a hammer blow for Welsh Labour, didn't it? It bestrides the country from Ynys Enlli to Casnewydd like a giant. It's won a plurality of votes in Wales since 1922. And yet now it lies in tatters. Since the dawn of devolution, Wales has been run by Welsh Labour and now is descended into a viper's nest of infighting and finger-pointing. And the people of Wales look on open-mouthed. Now, be under no illusion, however. What lies ahead is a battle for the future of Wales. Gwlad y Gân, the land of song, the land of my fathers, here in Wlad fy Nhadau. Broken by Thatcher, broken by deindustrialisation, broken towns and villages. Some of the poorest people, not in Wales, not even in the United Kingdom, but across the continent of Europe. And we've had enough. Mealy-mouthed words won't cut it when pledge and policies go into the dust. The people of Wales are looking now instead to two false gods. Nigel Farage and his tweed embrace that promises chaos and promises darkness. Or the sunlit uplands of Plaid Cymru, to the left of Labour, playing fantasy football with its finances in an economy that is already in a dismal outlook.
Okay.
The battle lines are drawn. The result will be Wales's, and Wales's alone.
May I start, Kai?
You may.
Please do, because I actually only understood about half of what he said.
I'm saying...
I thought it was poetic. I think he was mocking your Welsh. So listen, what I'll say is this. Labour has been run by Wales since it was devolved. It has never lost an election. It has been in government that entire time, Kai.
Exactly, I agree.
And if you're looking at blame, you're pointing to Nigel Farage and Reform, who have never held office in this country, might I add. You're looking to blame the people.
No, I'm not.
Well, you just did. You
No.
false gods. You said they're false gods. But if we're really looking for blame, it's your own party.
Exactly. And that's what I've just said.
No,
I've just said that Welsh Labour is
but it's not
blaming each other.
Welsh Labour, it's Labour as a party that have been following successive leaders of the Labour Party who are, at the end of the day, the First Minister is always basically going to for policy. And I think you can't blame the failures of Wales or false gods of Plaid and
I'm not. I'm saying that. But in May's elections in Wales for the Welsh Senedd, the Welsh people face a choice, right? And what I'm saying is that at the minute it looks like they will either have to choose between Nigel Farage or Plaid Cymru.
Who should they vote for?
Well, I think actually can I tell you what I think will happen is, and this is what we saw in Caerphilly, where of course there was 11 points between Plaid and I was about to say UKIP and Reform, is that Welsh people will vote tactically on the left, on a broad swathe of the left. They will vote tactically to keep Reform out. And that is a problem for the general election too.
In which case they won't be voting for any change.
Well, they will, Alex.
That is actually the big takeaway of this election, is that this has, I think, opened up the eyes of Reform of how hard it is going to be because of the tactical voting on the left that is coming their way. I think there's an interesting question which I'll throw back to you, Alex, which is, who actually do you think would be more disappointed with this result, Labour or Reform?
Well, I think this is a horrendous defeat for Labour. I think this is over 100 years in that seat, never having gone to someone else. This is something you never want. This shows the safest of Labour seats can go.
But they knew.
I think Reform will be disappointed. I think actually Nigel Farage has openly said he's disappointed. But I think they should look at that result, 34%. The last time they stood in that seat, they got 2%.
Exactly. And you look at how far Reform have come. I think we've got to look at that. And I know Nigel is disappointed with that result, but look how far Reform have come, and look how dismal Labour are doing. People that voted for Labour are so disillusioned.
I actually think
they're in a political wilderness because they feel let down. And I'm sorry,
I actually think
Reform are going to go from strength to strength.
Well, I think it's a bad result for Reform, and this is why I think Labour expected to get hammered. I think they're banking on actually having some sort of resurgence before the next general election. But I think this is the first time that Reform have been beaten in a way where they've thrown in everything at it and it didn't quite work. And you said something quite interesting about this coalition on the left. We've seen it in France. That's one way that people have seen how they can actually defeat Reform, and that's a worrying thing for Reform.
Yeah, I'll just add, because by-elections are a very unique political moment. This had over 50% turnout of this by-election. That is not replicated at general elections. So that whatever has happened in this tactical voting and all these other things probably won't get... I mean, if Reform could hold on to that 34% in a general election in a broader area, they would probably take that seat. Anyway, let's see what we've got next, because there's only one man left on the panel, and that is Trey. Trey, what have you got coming up after the break?
Well, what I've got coming up after the break is it's not going to be the best Halloween for Starmer, is it?
Well, there you go. You're with the Saturday 5 live on GB News. We'll see you in a minute.
I'm Michelle Dewberry. This is Jubes & Co with you.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christie is here. GB News, Britain's news channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Bold. They are under no illusion. Ray. Are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get us on a BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines. The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it? From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos. What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak. Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Welcome back to the Saturday 5. I've got some of your messages to read out on your say here. Smash the Gang says Ethiopia Airways runs a flight every 7 days to Addis Ababa.
Addis Ababa.
Thank you very much. No offence to anyone, of course, from Ethiopia. So when Mr. Kabata is found, just take him to Heathrow and put him on a flight to his beloved country that he says he longs to get back to. Yes. Completely, the guy wants to go home anyway. Let's just send him to make his wish come true. Mary Poppins says, so they are considering a one-in, one-out deal with 3 other countries. So we'll let them take our asylum seekers. Will we have to take some back? That's exactly what these deals are. We will. Grumpy Grandad says on your topic about Rachel Reeves, Lizzie, says, Reeves' first budget destroyed our economy. Her second one will finish it off. Oh, I think that is a feeling in the country, isn't it? And talking of Labour, up next, it's true.
Oh my
what
God!
Have you got for us?
It seems like we're absolutely hammering Labour, but you know what? Halloween has indeed come early for Starmer. So, the person he sacked from the cabinet this week, Lucy Powell, has risen from the political dead to become his new deputy, and you can just imagine she's probably going to be a horrendous thorn in his side. Now, in fairness, some of her acceptance speech I agree with. I don't think Labour should be chasing reform down this sort of right-ish rabbit hole, talking about migrants, etc. We know that's not the reason why the country is poorer, angrier and feeling hopeless. But here's the catch. The same progressive instincts that make her appealing to many on the left is the exact same things that for years has actually caused the actual resurgence of the right. So many people feel left behind, especially a lot of white, working-class Britons who feel this pride in their country, who speak about issues and speak about migration, and they don't feel heard. And many of them are actually Labour voters, or they were Labour voters. So Lucy Powell, in a sense, embodies the very, very same division that the country itself is experiencing. We're a country now that is leaderless. There's no one at the wheel. No one knows if they're coming or if they're going. And the truth is this. It's not just a Halloween for Keir Starmer. It actually feels like Halloween's come earlier for all of us.
Yeah, I certainly agree. Lucy Powell was only sacked, was it, 2 months ago?
Yeah.
And she's back by clearly left-wing popular demand. You just can't make it up, can you? It's completely bonkers. Do you know what it is for me, I think, guys? That Labour seems to be at the same place the Tories were in the last 4 dying years of that party. And now Labour has managed to get there within 18 months.
Yeah, but hang on. The reasons, the circumstances of this are radically different. This was a members' election. She won an election that 160,000 members voted for her, right? And against the wishes of Keir Starmer, who put Bridget Phillips in as the number 10 preferred candidate. And she got the nominations, of course, but other people were nominated who clearly would win with the members. So actually, it's not the Prime Minister chopping and changing, getting rid of people. She's the one member of the cabinet who left in that reshuffle. So it's not the same. It's not nothing like on the scale. Nothing like on the.
What happened to her?
She resigned.
This is the
that is entirely different, isn't it, Alex?
Why did she resign?
We all know the council tax snafu.
Right.
This is bad advice from lawyers.
That's a little dog whistle. You're playing that little trumpet, Kai, that little dog whistle.
No, but come on. Comparing the Tories is ridiculous. Clearly, the members have spoken and they want Labour to articulate a strong progressive vision for the country that isn't chasing and trying to out-reform.
This is the name that came to mind for me as well, and she's the most popular Labour politician in the country and she knows it. She's been very quiet lately. I just wonder what manoeuvring is going on there.
She's waiting until May.
Very interestingly, because in Lucy Powell's acceptance speech, who did she mention, Lizzie? Who do you think?
Well, of course, she's going to mention reform, isn't she?
And everyone's favourite Red Rayner.
Oh, Red Rayner.
Red Rayner.
Yeah. Well, apparently, Red Rayner, she's doing an actual Halloween party. It's called Nightmare on Downing Street. But let me tell you, Lucy Powell and Keir Starmer are going to be the worst married couple. I'm thinking of Marge and Homer Simpson. They're going to be awful.
Oh, worse than that.
It is just going to be a nightmare. It just gets worse for Keir Starmer.
Yeah, it's sad, right? For someone like me who sits bang in the middle, politically, right? I see it and I just think the Labour Party, for me, look like the country. It's the same thing. There's no leadership, really. It's just this fight and this pendulum swing between one side and the other. But we as the people don't have anyone that represents us. It's all about them, I don't get with that one. I got rid of Starmer's gallivanting around the world trying to fix his foreign policy, and he should be here dealing with what's going on here.
I would say the vast majority of viewers would say they now actually do have someone who represents them in the form of reform.
Zach Balansky.
Okay,
that remains to be seen.
Kai, can I ask you on Lucy Powell? Because this is a very important week for Labour, given the grooming gang inquiry fallout. Lucy Powell has made some quite offensive remarks, in my opinion, and many people's opinion, about when she's challenged on the grooming gang. She called it a dog whistle, and amongst other things. Does it just a bad look that the Labour Party and its members seem completely out of touch with where the country is?
Look, on that, I think a lot of people didn't realise quite the scale of the grooming gangs issue. No, that's true. Lucy Powell, that interview she did was in the early days when GBNews was doing a lot of reporting on this, but it actually hadn't broken through to public consciousness, and to the point, to the degree that it has now. So we shouldn't just be cancelling politicians for what they once said, right? We should allow them to prove themselves in their actions, and maybe this is somewhere where she can prove herself.
She was just
as deputy leader.
She has been proven to be rubbish.
That was under a year ago, right?
Yes.
What, about 6 months ago?
January-ish sort of time?
Yeah.
No, it was when this issue was blowing up,
That's a nonsense.
That is not a nonsense,
Absolute nonsense that this hadn't hit the public consciousness and we didn't know that this was an issue.
Well, this happened as it was growing, right? In January, I remember it, we were all discussing at the time, and I said that the Labour government has been sitting on this far too long, that they need to take attention to the growing public consciousness about it. But it wasn't in the public eye as much then.
I will agree with you at that stage. Some people cared and some people didn't. And she didn't, and now she may care a bit more because it's politically expedient.
Exactly. No. It was appalling and insensitive. And you know what? Keir Starmer doesn't want that. You could just... the way she said his name
to give Lucy Powell some defence, she has actually come on GBNews and apologised, essentially, for making that comment. So I at least give her the credit for coming up and making a statement.
Exactly.
I think when politicians do that, we can forgive a little bit.
Well, and yet you're mentioning it right at the end now. And we've just had a conversation about how insensitive it was and how she shouldn't be deputy leader. Come on, guys.
That doesn't accuse her of what she said. I just mean it's good that someone can recognise they said something wrong, but it doesn't take away the fact that she said it.
But also, she had to apologise.
She had no choice but to apologise.
Yes, she did indeed.
So it doesn't mean anything anyway in your eyes.
Pretty much is actually the honest truth.
Right. So mealy mouth
Acting like she
words from
well, look, we've got loads more coming up on the show tonight. The Saturday Scrap is the next part of our show. I want you to go to gbnews.com/poll now and vote on the topic you want us to debate here. Everyone is rearing to go on that debate, so let us know what you'd like. gbnews.com/yoursay to get your Ask the Fives in. We love answering those questions because they come directly from you. And your favourite part of this show, Triggered Tantrums. We'll be bringing you some incredible videos this week, trust me. Plus, we'll bring you the latest on the Migrant Manhunt. We'll keep you posted if there's any updating news on that too. Listen, this next hour is going to be a big one. Don't go anywhere.
Hold on. We've still got 2 hours. I reckon he's still...
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast. It's been chilly for many of us today, a cold northerly wind, and it generally stays that way tonight. And then we see cloud and rain moving in from the northwest through tomorrow. Looking at the bigger picture, low pressure sat to our east, high pressure to our west, a northerly flow bringing frequent showers to many of us. This evening, we can see them pushing southwards across England and Wales, clearing skies though behind it, so it turns quite chilly across central and northern parts of the UK overnight. But blustery around the coasts with further showers. Temperatures here 4 or 5 Celsius, but are getting close to freezing in the countryside across northern England, southern Scotland, where the winds will be lightest. But it does mean a bright start, particularly across England and Wales first thing. But Scotland seeing the cloud move in as the weather system approaches in the west. Outbreaks of patchy rain. Showers still on a brisk northerly flow down the eastern side of Scotland. Clouding over across Northern Ireland. Sunday morning, rain arriving here. Showers still for western parts of Wales and England. But central and eastern parts of England are chilly but sunny start to the day. Any frost patches soon clearing. And then slowly through the morning, we'll see the cloud and rain push its way slowly southeastwards, introducing the rain into the Midlands by lunchtime. Southeast England holding on to the sunshine for longest, but clouding over here through the afternoon and patchy rain arriving later. The wind still coming in from the northwest, so fairly chilly day. Temperatures 9 to 12 Celsius for most of us. And with the lack of sunshine, it will be fairly chilly. That pushes away as we go into Monday, and then showers follow, so a showery day on Monday. The wind's still coming in from a northwesterly direction. Further outbreaks of rain likely across western areas, but in between there will be some sunny spells trying to develop and temperatures a little higher, and it stays mixed through next week with further rain and showers at times. Temperatures near average.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
It's the final week to see how you can become our biggest winner this year. First, you could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primera motorhome. This luxury vehicle comfortably sleeps 4, has its own fitted kitchen and bathroom areas, and comes complete with fitted awning and bicycle rack. And that's not all, as we'll also give you a whopping £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel. Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Welcome back to the Saturday 5, everybody, the UK's biggest Saturday night TV show. I'm Alex Armstrong, alongside Will Kingston, Lizzie Cundy, Trey Lowe and Kai Wilshaw. Tonight on the show...
Ding, 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 the results are in for the Saturday scrap.
We'll be speaking with a pink lady about the Migrant Manhunt.
And find out why this young man has caused a supermarket's rivalry.
And make sure you're getting your questions in for Ask the 5, and there'll be more of this.
I'm here fighting for public education for my children. They deserve so much better than what they're getting right now.
What's happening there? There's a fresh batch of trigger tantrums that even I can't defend coming your way later.
Yes, it's 7 o'clock and this is the Saturday 5. Welcome to the Saturday 5. We're bringing you the biggest debates, the hottest topics and entertaining interviews. You'll never find anything like it anywhere else on telly, trust me. And of course, we love reading your comments out on gbnews.com/your say. But before we start ripping each other to shreds, it's your Saturday night news. We'll see you shortly.
Thank you very much. Good evening to you. 7:15 here in the GB Newsroom. The Metropolitan Police is urging a migrant sex offender to turn himself in, having been mistakenly released from prison on Friday. Hadush Kabatu boarded a train from Chelmsford to Stratford yesterday afternoon. He's now at large in London. He was freed weeks after being convicted of the assault of a woman and a 14-year-old girl while living at the Bell Hotel in Epping, which sparked nationwide protests. The Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, says his accidental release is totally unacceptable. Met Police Commander James Conway says his force is pursuing all possible lines of inquiry.
He has since made a number of train journeys across the London area. We believe he has access to funds, and critically, in both Chelmsford and London, we believe he has sought assistance from members of the public and has spoken to station staff. If you've had any direct contact with him or are currently providing him with assistance, we are very keen to hear from you.
Now, let's hear from Lucy Powell. She says it's a huge privilege to be elected as Deputy Leader of the Labour Party. Former House of Commons Speaker, who was sacked in Sir Keir Starmer's reshuffle last month, won 54% of the vote, beating the Education Secretary Bridget Phillipson. She replaces Angela Rayner, who stepped down over tax affairs last month. In her victory speech, Lucy Powell said she'll try to wrestle back the political megaphone from Nigel Farage and Reform UK.
People feel that this government is not being bold enough in delivering the kind of change we promised. I'll be a champion for our Labour values and boldness in everything we do. And I know that you, Keir, as our leader, you want that too, and I will be your ally in that fight. It starts with us wrestling back the political megaphone and setting the agenda more strongly. Because let's be honest, we've let Farage and his ilk run away with it.
4 counter-protesters have been arrested during a UK Independence Party protest in central London. UKIP supporters marched towards Marble Arch after police blocked their planned rally in Whitechapel. They held a banner at the bottom of your screen that reads "Islamist invaders not welcome in Britain" and chanted "Send them back" amid a heavy police presence. 4 people taking part in a counter-demonstration organised by Stand Up to Racism were detained for being in breach of conditions along the route and refusing to leave. Donald Trump says he'd like to meet the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un on his upcoming trip to Asia. The US president will visit Malaysia, Japan and South Korea for trade talks with a number of world leaders, including China's Xi Jinping. He's likely to face challenging negotiations following his imposition of sweeping tariffs earlier this year. In 2019, Trump became the first sitting US president to set foot on North Korean soil. He had a meeting with a leader he previously referred to as Little Rocket Man, but he says contacting North Korea's secluded society is challenging.
The last time I met you, I put it out over the internet that I'm coming to South Korea. If he'd like to meet, I'm open to it, certainly. We had a very good... Yeah, I'd do it. And if you want to put out the word, I'm open to it. You know, they don't have a lot of telephone service. They have a lot of nuclear weapons, but not a lot of telephone service. So I'm open to it. I had a great relationship with him, and he probably knows I'm coming, right?
The first illicit factory for weight loss jabs has been discovered in the UK and dismantled. Drugs worth £250,000 were seized from the facility in Northampton. It included thousands of empty injector pens, raw chemical ingredients and large amounts of cash. The Health Secretary, Wes Streeting, described the setup in Northampton as shameless and dangerous, warning people not to buy weight loss injections from unregulated sources. Parents in the UK are being urged to vaccinate their children against flu over half-term, as health officials are warning the virus can spread like wildfire. England's chief nursing officer, Duncan Burton, says flu's hit early this year with a worrying rise in cases amongst children. Pop-up clinics will be set up at fire stations and bowling alleys. Children can also receive the jab at their local pharmacy. And the Irish Prime Minister Micheál Martin has congratulated Catherine Connolly on a very comprehensive election victory, adding it's clear she'll be the next President of Ireland. Live pictures here from Dublin Castle, where an official announcement is expected shortly. The left-wing independent candidate's landslide win likely to be confirmed in the coming hour or so. Fine Gael's party nomination, Heather Humphreys, has already conceded defeat. Ms Connolly will replace Michael D. Higgins, who's held the largely ceremonial role since 2011, although there's concern that many voters appear to have used the election to voice frustration over a number of issues, including immigration, with almost 180,000 spoiled ballots. That's it for the moment. I'll have more news coming up for you at 8 o'clock.
Of course, it's Saturday night, and you are with the Saturday Five. I'm Alex Armstrong, and I always promise you every week that you are going to be in for a very, very lively show. Now, you've all been voting, haven't you, at gbnews.com/poll, and you get to decide every week what we have our big debate on in the Saturday Scrap. And I can tell you the results are in. 12% of you voted for should Prince Andrew leave the Royal Lodge. 23% of you voted on should we abandon the Be Kind culture, which means a whopping 65% of you voted for this. Is it anti-British to ban the burqa? So let's get started with our main event. And of course, Robert Jenrick has sparked some controversy after suggesting he would ban the burqa in Britain. The former cabinet minister said it was about defending basic values and confronting what he called cultural separatism, including Sharia courts and face coverings. Labour MP Sam Rushworth slammed Jenrick's comments as anti-British and going against what our nation stands for. So, we're having our Saturday scrap on this. Is it anti-British to ban the burqa? Seconds out, it's round 1, and it is. I was about to say Renee, it's not Renee.
How dare you?
Lizzie versus Kai. Kai.
Is it really? Well, look, Robert Jenrick, I'm pretty tired now of hearing what he has to say from the sidelines, but isn't this just a continuation of what the Tories are doing entirely? Like, cultural coherence is what Katie Lamb talked about recently when she was talking about migration. But it's not about that, is it? Because this is targeting, and this has always been my line on this, this is a tiny amount of people who are targeted by this ban. In the UK, it's a few thousand. You know, there's a case in Switzerland where literally a burqa ban would only affect a couple of dozen women. But what we lose is also religious freedom and freedom to associate however we please. In this country, people are just as likely to wear a hijab as we have men roaming the streets topless over summer. We're not the kind of country that bans people from expressing their religion or any other way they want. I don't really care. Now, we're also, and this is where it really gets me when we see Tories coming out saying that banning the burqa would solve anything. It's a classic Tory line, because what they aren't doing, and what this doesn't do, is address the fundamental and underlying questions of social cohesion. Yes, they're difficult to address, but that's what we need to tackle, and not some performative ban that only serves to make us a less free place for Muslim women.
You know what? I'm going to give you a sat-nav for Christmas because you've really lost your way. Because as a woman, it is extremely intimidating. I find it very frightening not to be able to see someone's face. It goes against what we are culturally in this great country of ours. And also, you're not talking about the security factor. We've got the biggest terrorism threat in this country at the moment. We listened to MI5 talk about this, saying about the constant terrorist, possible attacks that could be going on. It isn't safe to have your face covered up. It isn't, British. I'm sorry. We are all respectful of other people's, faiths, their creed. We are respectful as a country. But to have your face covered up, I'm afraid, is oppressive. And me, as a woman, I find it very frightening. I was at a restaurant the other evening and I was surrounded by ladies with burqas. One had just one eye showing. And I was then told it was from the Taliban. But for me, I just thought, why can't you show your face? It's such a shame. And many of the women are forced to do it. And I say, look, you're in Great Britain. I'm afraid it's time to ban it. Do what Italy are doing and other countries too.
No. And this is... I just want to say one thing about those security concerns, which I totally understand. And we're going to see a rise in the use of terrorism and the use of security concerns as a way of allowing creeping authoritarianism in this country. This is how it starts. Right? This is how it starts. You claim to be doing things or bringing in new measures to erode liberties under the guise of addressing security concerns. You will not like the country you end up in. That's simple fact.
Sounds like a very good argument against digital ID.
I'm sorry.
Luckily, we're not talking about that.
The point is digital ID. What happens there? Keir Starmer's going to make excuses for certain Muslims that are wearing the burqa. That isn't fair. And let me tell you, there is a real terrorism threat in this country, and that is why we need to ban the burqa.
OK, let's open up to the rest of the panel here to have a chat. Trey, you put your hand up straight away.
Oh, my God, I'm so bored of this. Burqa, Muslim. I mean, I'm going to break down some of what you said here, right? So you're scared of women who are in a burqa, but you're probably happy to accept a pizza from a bloke in a helmet.
No, I don't
it's just,
like that either. I don't like the delivery.
But you're not talking about banning helmets.
Ban helmets.
No, I think
let's ban helmets. Let's ban balaclavas in winter. Oh, God. Look, less than 5,000 women in this country wear the burqas. You can't be for women's rights and yet actually take away the right of a woman who wants to wear a burqa. I think all of this... But how do you know that...
Terrorist threats at the moment.
Then let those women decide whether they wear it or not. And if you're going to say they're forced to wear it, I mean, you're going to go to Stamford Hill and say someone who follows the Sabbath is forced to dress appropriate for their religion? Where do you draw the line?
In this country.
I think this is one of the dangers.
MI5 said.
I understand. But they didn't say there's an army of women in burqas causing havoc everywhere.
What I'll say...
I think it's ludicrous.
intimidating and scary.
I think it's ludicrous.
What I say the problem is, and I sympathise with Lizzie here. I think the problem is that this is a religious garment, and often there is cases where this is women are forced to wear the burqa. There are cases where
address that.
I'm sure there are lots of religious cases like that.
That may be very well the case, but it is mostly exclusive to Islam. Actually, I don't think there's any other religious group in this country that cover their face head to toe. Women cover head to toe, and the men can wear whatever they want. I think that it's regressive, and I think it's anti-British. We have a culture of looking each other in the face, and when we say something, we're held accountable for those words. If someone who is in full face covering says something to me, and that we see these people at the protest, and I think we should get rid of all face coverings, by the way. I don't think it should be allowed in public unless there are exceptional circumstances for it, because at the end of the day, you can't be held accountable. When nobody knows who you are, as Lizzie said, you do become a security risk. You can't integrate with somebody. You cannot integrate with somebody when you can't communicate with them. And I think there are those little things that it feels alienating, and it does create a fear, and that's why Switzerland, Denmark, parts of France, Portugal, Italy are banning it, because it is no longer compatible with our Western values.
You said it right there, little things, and that's the thing. This is not a threat, security threat.
It is.
As Trey says, we're talking about a small number of people. Why then do the press and do certain politicians insist on bringing this up again and again and again? We all know why. We all know why they want to target Muslims and women who decide of their own right to wear the burqa. There are issues with coercion, but let's solve that, not just ban a burqa on no basis.
I note the irony of the lefties saying, well, this isn't a problem for too many people, so let's not worry about it. There are plenty of issues, whether it is a fraction of the population where they kick up a big fuss, e.g. trans, basically minority rights by definition is the leftist.
I think that
Stop for a second, Kai, you've spoken enough. I've been on an ideological journey, as many people who watch this show would know. I came to the UK as a hardcore libertarian. You should be allowed to do whatever you want to do to the extent it doesn't hurt other people. I still think that works in a high-trust, monocultural society. The fact of the matter is the UK is no longer a high-trust monocultural society. We are a socially and culturally fractured society, and there is simply no doubt that in many parts of Islamic culture, women are treated as second-class citizens, and this is the physical representation.
So your concern is really for those poor women? Be honest.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
And I don't really like...
Most of it is about an anti-Islamic agenda. And it will actually be better if people just admitted that. We think it is an anti-Islamic agenda. Just tell the truth. Because the same people will go and live in Dubai happily with lots of people.
Respond to my point as opposed to just saying the same thing you do every week, which is all about the Muslims. In many parts of Islamic culture, women are treated as second-class citizens, and this is the physical embodiment of that. Respond to that.
OK, so I'm going to respond to this. How do you know that is the case?
How do I know the case?
Yeah. How many? Wait. Let me say it another way.
And do you know
how many women in burqas have you spoken with?
Do you know why?
Well, wait, can I interject, actually? Because I've actually been to Iran under its current regime, and there is severe oppression of women in that country.
Absolutely.
Fundamental Islamic oppression of people there under the guise of Islam, unfortunately. It's a dictatorship under the form of a theology.
And those
women there were, and the extremists in that country were about 5% of the population. They took over that country, and they imposed that on the women there. So I have spoken to women who are forced to wear religious garments, and they are not happy about it. And that is, of course, is an extreme example, but if it exists one place, it will certainly exist in others. And I think there will be plenty of women who will want to wear it, I agree, but I think where there might be I think this is kind of like saying, right, if there is one child that's being subjected to FGM, for example, OK, you could say, well, maybe they want it. Maybe that child wants to be FGM. Right, hang on, just hear me out. And I would say, actually, that's a cultural thing, and we should ban it in this country. Because I think if even one child or one person is affected by it, we should look at ways to stop it. And the only way you can ensure that being stopped is by banning it. That's my argument.
So I would say this. It sounds like what's coming from you guys is a moral imperative. So I say this. Yet we still do business with lots of countries who, as far as we're concerned, by our values, are immoral. We don't stop that, do we? But suddenly, when it comes to the burqa, it's let's ban the burqa. Look, if you're going to have the moral...
borders. We can't control what's in our own borders.
But there are things, because some of these countries are investing in real estate and property and all sorts of stuff. It's not a moral issue. I think it's an anti-Islamic issue. I've got no problem with that if people just tell the truth.
OK, I've got to leave it there. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. We love having this debate. We will have more of these debates, of course, over the course of the coming years as this debate, I'm sure, is going to keep heating up. But anyway, it's your chance to win the biggest prize of the year in the current Great British giveaway. There's 1 week left to get your entry in. You can drive away with a brand new motorhome.
How many birds?
4.
4. Wow, not 5, 4.
30k tax-free cash. Here's all the details.
It's the final week to see how you can become our biggest winner this year with a prize worth over £104,000. First, you could be driving away with this brand new Benamar Primera motorhome. Worth over £74,000, this luxury vehicle comfortably sleeps 4, has its own fitted kitchen and bathroom areas, and comes complete with fitted awning and bicycle rack. And that's not all, as we'll also give you a whopping £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. Someone is guaranteed to win our biggest prize to date, so make sure that winner could be you. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Good luck, everybody. Still to come, of course.
He will not. We see it all the time. He will not want to leave. He set it up.
Yes, that's Hollywood actor Robert De Niro, who's had another MAGA meltdown. Of course, Robert De Niro goes on another unhinged anti-MAGA rant. You won't believe it, trust me. And he just completely goes nuts, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But up next, we will continue to bring you the latest on the madness of the migrant manhunt taking place across the capital. This shocking story is not going anywhere.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I ever got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Welcome back to the Saturday 5, everybody. Please get in contact. We had a little guest there. We love it. Saturday 6 now.
Anything can happen.
It's live television after all. That's how you know. Get your questions in for Ask the 5. We love having your questions in, of course. We've got lots coming through. I'll tell you what, I will read some out in our next segment. So I want to see as many questions coming through because you sent over 300 messages about the last segment. So I will try and dig some out and read them out. How about that?
Seriously?
Yes, yeah, over 300.
Wow.
So there you go. The Metropolitan Police, however, is urging convicted sex offender Hadush Kabatu to turn himself in after he was mistakenly released from prison. I mean, does it get much worse than this, doesn't it? The 41-year-old Ethiopian asylum seeker was serving a 12-month sentence until it was brutally interrupted at HMP Chelmsford for sexually assaulting a 14-year-old girl. Well, Met Police Commander James Conway updated the public earlier.
I'm also making a direct appeal to Mr. Kabatu himself. We want to locate you in a safe and controlled way. You had already indicated a desire to return to Ethiopia when speaking to immigration staff. The best outcome for you is to make contact directly with us by either calling 999 or reporting yourself to a police station. We would ask any member of the public who sees Mr. Kabatu to call 999 immediately.
Well. To discuss this, I'm pleased to welcome campaigner and councillor Sarah White. Sarah, thank you so much for joining us this evening. Of course, this all started, didn't it? Everything we talk about with the migrant hotel campaigns up and down the country with this case in Epping. Sarah, what is the feeling like in Epping at the moment and Essex in general?
Everyone's feeling incredibly let down and just completely confused on how could this have happened? How could it have been this man, of all the men to be accidentally released, it just so happens to be the most high-profile criminal in this country at the moment. And it's outrageous. And how are the family feeling of the young girl that got sexually assaulted? Once again, they have been fouled by the authorities, and it's just rubbing salt in the wound.
Yeah, Sarah, because of course we have been glued to seeing the protests, particularly outside the Bell Hotel in Epping. I've spoken to many of you, yourself included, Sarah, over the course of the last year about this very, very serious crime committed against young people. Do you what kind of message do you think this sends? I mean, the government are saying this is an administrative error. David Lammy said he's furious. But a lot of people are worried that similar cases might be replicated. The government, of course, are planning to potentially release sex offenders onto the streets as part of their prison overcrowding issue. Do you think foreign criminals should just be deported?
100%. I think they should all be detained, processed and deported. They've broken into the country, so they've committed a crime. If you want to come here legally, follow the correct process and you'll be welcomed with open arms. Let's not forget, they've come from France. They're not fleeing war. So
indeed.
Yes, I would like to see them all detained and deported. And at the end of the day, it's all well and good for David Lammy to blame the previous government. However, it's under his government, or under the Labour government, that this criminal only received a 12-month sentence, and we know that he was only going to serve 4 months of that sentence, which is outrageous. And what message that sends is, if you sexually assault a young girl, you'll receive such a little punishment. That what message does that send when you know that I was arrested for unfurling the British flag and my crime would have been punishable with 12 months, the exact same as what he was given?
Indeed, Sarah. And of course, the other part of this story is that we've heard from an eyewitness who said actually Kabatu not only waited outside the prison, he went back and waited there for 90 minutes before the prison guards told him to get on a train somewhere. I mean, it's completely bonkers, isn't it?
It's almost like they wanted this to happen. Do they want to create civil unrest? Because it's too much of a coincidence that it was that guy. You know, how is it nobody else in the prison that was released? It just so happened to be him. And like you say, he waited around for a long time and nobody thought, oh, hold on, he's not supposed to be released. He's supposed to be being deported. What did they think? He was going to make his own way to be deported, take himself to Stansted? I don't think so.
Indeed. Kai, I'll pass it over to my panellists. Kai.
Yeah, thanks, Sarah. I just want to get this really clear. You were campaigning to get the Epping hotel shut down, as were many people across the country, and send them to as yet decided locations, but then we know that the prison system is in chaos. The effect of your policies and things that you would want to see enacted would be complete system chaos, wouldn't it? And a collapse of state capacity.
Well, I don't think so, because I think if they was able to build the Nightingale centres rapidly, we can build centres to house these people and basically... if protect our shores and stop sending boats out to the 12-mile mark to pick these undocumented illegal men up, we wouldn't have a problem. If we didn't spend so much money on having 500 officers at Epping, night in, night out at some points, you know, we would save an awful lot of money there, and that could be used wisely.
Too right, Sarah. It doesn't take too long to pitch up a tent in an army barracks. I want to consider more broadly, though, because this story, to be honest, is so bonkers. I still can't quite get my head around it. The campaigning that you have done and that so many brave women have done has been nothing short of extraordinary. Has there been any reach out from government officials or the police? Do you feel like you're being listened to?
Not at all. No, not at all. I think it's all well and good for certain members of Parliament to jump on the bandwagon like it's something to be fashionable. At one point, go, oh, the pink ladies. But what are they actually doing about it? We could sort this country out pretty rapidly if they really wanted to. I think ultimately our government want to divide and conquer. And that is the fundamental flaw. And they're too bothered about lining their own pockets rather than actually dealing with what's actually going on at ground level.
So, Sarah, I'm struggling a little bit here. So I think you said that they wanted this to happen. I'm just curious, that's what you said?
Yeah, I believe that. How is it this prisoner that's been released? How is it this prisoner only received 12 months? When, you know, you look at other crimes that are committed and they receive a much larger sentence when they're not as serious. So I believe that the government needs to look at their policies and, you know, sentencing that they hand out, because ultimately it infuriates people, because ultimately what they're doing is putting the wants and needs of undocumented illegal migrants over the wants and needs of our very own people. If you're happy for young girls and women to be sexually assaulted in the community, that has got to stop. And where is the ECHR when it comes down to women and children? If you're going to use the ECHR, it has to be fair for every single person in this country.
Sarah, I want to just ask you very quickly, I mean, this is a disgrace that this has happened, but do you think David Lammy should resign over this?
I think he should have resigned a long time ago over multiple points. So yes, 100% he should. And let's face it as well, this isn't an isolated incident. There was 262 people released by mistake from prison last year. That's one for every day of the year, because we don't release on a Saturday and a Sunday. So it's outrageous, and people need to be held accountable. And I'm sick and tired of, especially in the government and local councils, they can all well and good do something wrong and they're just allowed to leave without any punishment.
Kai? Challenge?
Well, I'm struggling a little bit to hear, but I really do think, I mean, we're getting some comments in from your saying that the system, you know, is in chaos already. But, you know, on the David Lammy point in particular, we've just had a reshuffle. Don't you think the British public are tired of seeing new faces and new jobs? And actually, the problem is that they're not getting to grips with the issue, and that's what David Lammy should do with a renewed focus.
I think we're getting fed up with the people that are selected for us to elect from. Ultimately, everyone who is in Parliament is incapable of doing their jobs because none of them are sincere to this country. So it's all well and good of having a Labour government. Everyone who they're going to pick is not going to put anyone in this country first.
OK, well, listen, thank you so much for joining us and giving us your thoughts there and for feeding, of course, across Epping and Essex. Sarah White, thank you so much for joining us. Listen, we'll keep you posted. You never know. You might be found in the next couple of hours. We will let you know as soon as that happens, if it ever does, of course. But still to come tonight.
Beautiful trans woman out here. Tell us about your transition, how it went.
Can I hold this, please?
No.
Trust me, you won't guess what happens next on that one. It's really funny. Of course, more triggered tantrums. But next, guess what has caused a supermarket rivalry over this young man? That's coming up in Bunch of Five next. You're with me, Alex Armstrong, and the panel on the Saturday 5 live on GB News.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
It's the start of half-term for many of us, but I'm afraid there's showers and some longer spells of rain in the forecast, particularly across parts of Iberia and southeastern Europe. Portugal and Spain could see some showers as we head through into Sunday. These could be heavy, possibly thundery. A mix of sunshine and showers elsewhere across northern parts of Europe, but it is going to be feeling much cooler than of late. Some brighter spells across southern parts of France, northern Europe, but elsewhere it is going to remain unsettled. More sunshine into next week, as well as some warm temperatures.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there, welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast. It's been chilly for many of us today, a cold northerly wind, and it generally stays that way tonight. And then we see cloud and rain moving in from the northwest through tomorrow. Looking at the bigger picture, low pressure sat to our east, high pressure to our west, a northerly flow bringing frequent showers to many of us. This evening, we can see them pushing southwards across England and Wales, clearing skies though behind it. It turns quite chilly across central and northern parts of the UK overnight, but blustery around the coasts with further showers. Temperatures here 4 or 5 Celsius, but are getting close to freezing in the countryside across northern England, southern Scotland, where the winds will be lightest. But it does mean a bright start, particularly across England and Wales first thing, but Scotland's seeing the cloud move in as the weather system approaches in the west. Outbreaks of patchy rain, showers still on a brisk northerly flow down the eastern side of Scotland, clouding over across Northern Ireland. Sunday morning, rain arriving here. Showers still for western parts of Wales and England, but central and eastern parts of England are chilly but sunny start to the day. Any frost patches soon clearing. And then slowly through the morning, we'll see the cloud and rain push its way slowly southeastwards, introducing the rain into the Midlands by lunchtime. Southeast England holding on to the sunshine for longest, but clouding over here through the afternoon and patchy rain arriving later. The wind still coming in from the northwest, so fairly chilly day. Temperatures 9 to 12 Celsius for most of us, and with the lack of sunshine, it will be fairly chilly. That pushes away as we go into Monday, and then showers follow, so a showery day on Monday. The wind's still coming in from a northwesterly direction. Further outbreaks of rain likely across western areas, but in between there will be some sunny spells trying to develop and temperatures a little higher, and it stays mixed through next week with further rain and showers at times, temperatures near average.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to the Saturday Five. Get in touch with us, gbnews.com/you're saying. Get your questions in for Ask the Five. It's rapidly approaching. I'm going to read a couple out now, as promised. Beth B says, more accidental releases during the last year. Look it up. If it's correct, 262. That's more than under the Tories. How is it just worse?
No, that figure is up until last March, which is before the general election.
Well, OK, well, there you go. There you go. Well, we've been corrected.
Quick answer for you.
There you go.
Check your stats.
Phillips says this. He's probably struggling, talking about Hadoush Kabasi, he's probably struggling to find a police station that hasn't been closed down in London. Very good point.
So true.
As David Lammy would say, I can't see any police around here.
So true.
You know? Yeah, Andy says pathetic, police should have caught him by now. Yeah. I won't read out this name because it's a bit of a naughty name you've got there. But it's Ask the Five one. This would be a good one for you guys to think about, actually. Is it time for a public commission to sort out Westminster? Oh, I think that's a good one.
That's a great one
too, yeah.
Great one.
But anyway, now it's time for this. It's Bunch of Five. This is the other stories that, of course, are Eye in the Week, and Will's going to kick us off.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you about a young man called Tom Boyd. Tom is 28 years old. He has autism, and he has, for a period of time now, worked unpaid at Waitrose, stacking shelves, all that sort of stuff that keeps the supermarket running. And he does the job unpaid, or did the job unpaid, I should say, because he wanted to contribute, he wanted to feel part of the community. In many ways, this is the very best of Britain. What an incredibly impressive young man. After 600 hours of unpaid service to Waitrose, I think he made what is a pretty reasonable request to get a couple of paid shifts. And apparently, according to The Guardian, Waitrose said no. Now, I'll let you make your own minds up about that one. I've got a pretty clear view of my view on Waitrose after that one. I'm not going to be heading into there anytime soon. But the good news in this story is that Asda has heard about Tom, who, I might add, has a better work ethic than the vast majority of the country by the looks of things, and they have now picked him up some paid work. And can I say thank you, Asda, but more importantly, Tom, congratulations for working hard, for contributing to the community, for representing what is the very best of this country. You're a fine young man.
Yeah, and I'm just going to read out, we do have a right of reply actually from Waitrose. A spokesperson said the company was well experienced in making reasonable adjustments to help people succeed at work, adding, we are sorry to hear of Tom's story, and whilst we cannot comment on individual cases, we are investigating as a priority. Lizzie, what have you got for us?
Well, yeah, obviously in the papers, front pages still going on, the House of York is crumbling. Andrew has lost, everything, basically. He's banished from royal life. He's lost the titles. They've even taken his crest down in St George's Chapel yesterday in Windsor. But I'm going to say there are many others that are involved with Epstein. Look at the Clintons. Look at Peter Mandelson, who I'm sure will raise his ugly head again. Even Tony Blair welcomed him in with open arms to number 10 when he was in power. So I'm saying, are we being a little bit hard on Sarah Ferguson? I know Sarah, she is a friend, but she is deeply sorry and thinks of the victims, and she's getting a very hard time while others seem to be getting away with it.
I'll just say for legal reasons, of course, there's no confirmation that anyone else was involved with the Epstein scandal.
But can you hear that? Can you hear that? That's it. It's the world's smallest violin playing just for Fergie and Andrew.
Oh no, I've no sympathy for Andrew, and Sarah Ferguson made huge mistakes. No one knows it more than her today. Let me tell you.
Yeah, no, Lizzie got a point on that. I think I feel sorry for her a bit.
OK, well, we've got to move on because this is a really bonkers story here. Right, a head teacher removed the word sinister from an education plan involving, of course, the child terrorist murderer Axel Ruda Cabana. Now, I think this speaks, well, The reason why is because mental health workers accused the head teacher of racially profiling a black boy with a knife. This sort of rhetoric has got us into so much trouble in this country, hasn't it? The grooming gangs is one that I can think of immediately, where we've been too scared to say something of fear of being called racist or Islamophobic or something of the sort. It's got to stop. We've got to stop this absolute madness. This evil thing might have been caught in advance had little moments like this where mental health workers and the far lefties in the education system hadn't prevented it from happening.
Yeah, I think grooming gang came to mind for all of us immediately when you said that story, and I think if there's one positive in the way that the culture and the discourse is changing in the country in the last 12 months, I think a lot of people now just go, you know what, call me a racist, call me far right, call me a Nazi, I don't care, the words have lost all meaning.
Yeah, they've been diluted, the word racism. I mean, I was called a Nazi because I went along to one of the protests outside the Migrant hotel.
Very brief.
Yeah, and we need to be more straight talking, but this is not a left or right issue. The head teacher said, the first meeting with him, she asked, why did you bring a knife to his previous school? And he said, to use it. Showed no remorse, no shame. It's terrifying, but you can't put this on the left door entirely.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay, well, let's move on.
Bunch 5? God, I'm a little bit behind, aren't I? But anyway, my bunch of 5 comes back to what we were talking about in terms of just, I guess, London. It does feel generally that London is going down the drain, and it's happening really, really fast. So this was the story about the phone snatching epidemic. I believe it was something like 1% of people get convicted for it. Yet you see it all the time in London. And not only that, I mean, you had Wes Nelson from Love Island who said he was stolen from twice. I had my laptop nicked. This happened in daylight, and it feels like London is slightly lawless and that these crimes happen and police don't seem to do much about it.
Trey, this wasn't happening 20 years ago. What do you think's changed?
I think it's there's so many. Oh, you're trying to catch me when you say what you think.
No, I'm not trying to catch you.
I think a lot of things have happened. I think social cohesion's going down the pan, number one. I think there's not much law and order. But one of the biggest things is, this is a big difference for me, I don't ever see any police on the streets. I think people are just acting in a way that's totally fearless, that they can do what they want and not actually get caught for anything. I think that's one of the biggest changes.
Yeah, but, well, also what you're failing to say is, of course, 20 years ago, these things that we have in our pockets didn't cost about £1,000, so you can start there. I mean, these are criminal enterprises, criminal gangs that are taking advantage of the system.
Into jewellery or bags or whatever.
80,000 phones are stolen.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Well, in a slightly change of tune, I've been looking this week at an article talking about whether AI will shorten or lengthen lifespans. Now, we know that lots of the breakthroughs in science recently, including by Sir Demis Hassabis, have meant that cancers and lots of diseases are being tackled by AI. However, the social isolation that comes from using AI could also lead to a rise in despair deaths, which we're seeing as a crisis across sort of young people, not older people, but younger people in the Western world.
AI is going to be incredible for medical reasons. It's going to break through and cure many diseases we've never been able to cure before. But it is going to be terrifying when it's merged with robotics, because there will not be many jobs that a robot mixed with AI will not be able to do.
And
so
what will people do?
We're going to have to really be careful about how far we want to let it go in our societies. But unfortunately, that's all we've got time for on that debate. I'm sure we'll spend plenty more time talking about that. Anyway, take a look at this.
I'm here fighting for public education for my children. They deserve so much better than what they're getting right now.
I'm shocked every week. I get more and more shocked. Trigger Tantrums is next. You're with the Saturday 5 live on GB News.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
some schools are banning birthday cakes from the classroom.
Yeah, banning parents from sports. And now the great headline in the Telegraph, Labour puts the knife into nursery birthday cake. Apparently, new guidelines for the Department of Education are saying that you should not send your child into school with a cake when it's their birthday, because it's bad for them, it's going to make them fat, all the rest of this stuff. It's the nanny state once again on the march, isn't it?
Is this a new thing? Because I don't remember ever taking a birthday cake on my birthday.
We did too.
Took a birthday cake.
And I think some schools I've seen that have a fake birthday cake, which is not nearly as nice, with a fake cake with a candle on, so you sing happy birthday and blow out the candle. But you know, I love the way Jacob Rees-Mogg. European GB News presenter has waded into this row saying, well, my children's nanny sends little cakes into school for all the children.
Absolutely.
He said only the nanny sends them in. Only socialists
know what is acceptable and what isn't.
He says only socialists want to stop such innocent pleasures. And I think there's a real point about that. One school, actually, Broxburn Primary in Harrow, is saying, don't send your child in with a cake. Donate a book to the school library instead. I mean, that is just not a good substitute, is it?
Cakes?
No, my kids are 1 and 3, so they're not quite at that age yet. But
it'll happen.
It does it. But it should, because
there is. It doesn't have to be a big splodgy cake. It can just be something.
But even if it's a bit of a treat, there's no way the calories of school birthday cake are the calories making people fat.
No.
So we should focus on the big issues rather than ruining this fun.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not a killjoy. I think kids should have a bit of fun. I just didn't know it was a thing.
Yeah,
it's all changed since my day.
I think maybe it's the teachers who don't like the sugar rush the kids get afterwards, and they can't keep control in the classroom.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to the Saturday 5, everybody. We've got triggered tantrums coming up in just a second. I want you to do me a favour. I haven't seen many Ask the Fives this evening. We've got one I read out earlier, but we want more. So if you would like your comment read out and you've got a question, keep it sensible enough that the whole panel here can debate on it. But Ask the Five in your comment on gbnews.com/yoursay, and they will be discussing that in the next hour, in minutes' time, basically. So now's your chance. Now's your chance. But before that, Triggered Tantrums is here, and I love this part of the show every week because you never really know what's going on in the world around you, do you, until you see this part of the show, and Will is going to kick us off.
Yeah, well, it's nothing new that those elites in Hollywood aren't the biggest fans of Trump, but Robert De Niro is the ringleader of the anti-MAGA movement, and he has gone frankly insane over Trump, and we just saw another example of it this week on one of the American talk shows. Let's have a look.
He will not. We see it all the time. He will not want to leave. He set it up with his. I guess he's the Goebbels of the cabinet. Stephen Miller. He's a Nazi. Yes, he is, and he's Jewish, and he should be ashamed of himself.
It's just, you know, I always go back to that Ricky Gervais monologue at the Golden Globes of people who barely finished high school lecturing us about history. He wouldn't have any idea about what Nazism really is. Quick question, though. Would it change your opinion of his films?
Do you know what? It does in some cases, not all cases, but when I see someone get overly political, an actor, for example, we had an actor on Trigger Tantrums last week who got overly political that I actually loved their show, but now I watch it and I think about their political opinions. When I watch it, I'm just like, keep the mystery.
It does not But then when trans people were boycotting J.K. Rowling, you lot were hating on that, saying that it's ridiculous.
I think they have every right to boycott it. I think I can still call it out if I disagree.
I mean, it is. I mean, he's one of the
best actors in the world. I love his movies.
Exactly.
Makes no difference.
It's not a principle thing. It's just you can't really get it out of your head when you're watching Raging Bull and you're going, "Oh, this guy's so annoying."
Who'd have thought it?
Well, Lizzie, you've got a trigger tantrum for us. What is it?
Yeah, well, this one, it did make me laugh, I've got to say. There's an interviewer who is trying to interview someone he thought was transitioning and thought it was a trans woman. But she is very angry and getting very triggered, and he even grabs the microphone off him, saying, "No, I'm a woman." And then he goes on and saying, "No, it's OK, I'm supportive, I'm with you." She's like, "No, I am an actual woman." Oh, you've got to watch it. It is hilarious.
So I have a question for you. Why are you asking me those questions?
Like we're interviewing like trans women and stuff like that.
I'm not a trans woman. I'm a...
Oh no, we're fully supportive. Do you want to talk about sort of transitioning or anything like that, or like what people can?
I never transitioned because I was born a woman.
No, of course you're a woman. Of course.
Does it make a trans woman any less of a woman?
No, you are 100% a woman.
I'm not a trans woman.
Is there another definition that people like to use, or?
You thought I was a man?
I love it. This just completely exposes the fallacy of the left, isn't it? Because they're out on a pro-trans march, and then all of a sudden, when you go, you know, you're a beautiful trans woman, they go, "No, I'm not. I'm definitely not. I'm not a man. You're calling me a man." It's like, and all of a sudden, that whole fallacy that women can be like, men can be like women, starts to fall apart, doesn't it, Kai?
Yeah. No, because the right's obsession with trans people and policing who goes into bathrooms and who doesn't is exactly why we've got ourselves into this situation. Where people say, "You don't look enough like a woman. You don't look enough like a man." It's disgusting. And it's all you lot.
So it's the women who just want to protect women's spaces that are the problem.
No, it's the malign right-wing influences who are hijacking that cause for their own interests.
You know, whenever, as a woman, I bring this up, you make me feel like I shouldn't and intimidated, and that's the whole point.
Hear. Well, listen, we've got a lot more to go on the show. Saturday 5 Extra is coming up, and listen, Cassandra wrote here, and I think this is a really good point. Ask the 5, why have there been so few Ask the 5 questions this week? Cassandra, I want to know the answer. So tell you what, Cassandra, can you put another question in for us? Because I don't think that one we can do much talking about. Put another question in for us. I'm going to be back here with you all at 9 o'clock. I've got a massive story for you, a huge rape gang story. Trust me, it sent chills down my spine, and I think it's going to be something you're all going to want to hear. Trust me, Sadiq Khan might have to come back grovelling to Londoners after his defence of saying there weren't any in the capital here. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for the Saturday 5 Extra. Cressida's coming in, and you're going to have a great show. They're all going to get a pint, and I'm not, so I'm a little unhappy about that. But anyway, we will see you all very shortly. Get your question for Ask the 5, and we'll see you in 5.
Today, clouds overhead, total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, welcome to your latest GB News weather forecast. It's been chilly for many of us today, a cold northerly wind, and it generally stays that way tonight. And then we see cloud and rain moving in from the northwest through tomorrow. Looking at the bigger picture, low pressure sat to our east, high pressure to our west, a northerly flow bringing frequent showers to many of us. This evening, we can see them pushing southwards across England and Wales, clearing skies though behind it, so it turns quite chilly across central and northern parts of the UK overnight. But blustery around the coasts with further showers. Temperatures here 4 or 5 Celsius, but are getting close to freezing in the countryside across northern England, southern Scotland, where the winds will be lightest. But it does mean a bright start, particularly across England and Wales first thing. But Scotland seeing the cloud move in as the weather system approaches in the west. Outbreaks of patchy rain. Showers still on a brisk northerly flow down the eastern side of Scotland. Clouding over across Northern Ireland. Sunday morning, rain arriving here. Showers still for western parts of Wales and England. But central and eastern parts of England are chilly but sunny start to the day. Any frost patches soon clearing. And then slowly through the morning, we'll see the cloud and rain push its way slowly southeastwards, introducing the rain into the Midlands by lunchtime.